Hey guys, coming at you today with a delicious summer dessert, keto lemon bars. So let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Alycia and I'm a pastry chef with a sweet tooth. So I'm here to bring you the most delicious keto pastries I possibly can. So if you enjoy these recipes, please consider hitting the subscribe button, hitting the bell icon, sharing with all your friends. It all helps my channel grow and to bring you new keto desserts every Saturday. Today, some delicious, sweet, and tangy lemon bars. And I had figured out like a traditional lemon bar. It is super soft and custardy like. It is awesome. I can't believe I got so close to like a regular lemon bar recipe, and I'm super happy to bring this to you today. It all starts with a shortbread crust, which we have made multiple times on this channel. I just took my shortbread crust from, I believe it was my key lime pie I've done it with. There's a bunch of other ones too, but I think the most recent was my key lime pie. I'll link that up there if you haven't seen that. That's another delicious summer treat. But I got my dry ingredients already ready here. I'm gonna just list everything up on the screen for you. I already sifted everything together. You just gotta melt 1 stick of salted butter. I don't put salt in my mix, but if you use unsalted butter, just put a pinch of salt in your dry ingredients. I'm gonna give my dry ingredients a little whisk. I use a Locanto granular monk fruit erythritol blend. You can use straight erythritol if you want. You could also use a blend. I wouldn't suggest using anything that is really like a small amount of sweetener. My recipes aren't going to work because you need the volume, the same kind of volume that I have in my recipes. So if you go and use a straight stevia that is like really potent and sweet and you only need a tiny bit, it's not going to work to keep your crust together because you need bulk in the recipe in order to match my recipe. So it's not going to work. But you have like stevia alternatives that are a 1-for-1 with sugar. Those will work, or like a Splenda substitute that is 1-for-1 with sugar. They usually add something in there to balance and make it so it's not just a really tiny amount of sweetener. And I don't know if anybody knows, I've been commenting in the comments about allulose. Allulose keep things soft. So if you put allulose in this recipe, it's not gonna get like crunchy. It's gonna stay soft no matter what. That's the only problem with allulose. Allulose is great for a lot of things, but it doesn't let things get crispy. We're just going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract to our butter. Basically, it's just a vanilla shortbread crust. You're just going to mix this a little bit and then mix it into your dry ingredients. Give it a mix up. It's going to be like a wet, sandy consistency. It takes a minute to rehydrate the coconut flour and all that, but it will get thicker as it sits. You basically just pat it into a 9x13 pan. I did do this, believe it or not, metal and glass and all that, like different kinds of pans cook differently. So I was doing this in silicone at work and it was cooking really fast. The glass one I did a test in and it took forever for the crust to brown. So I have a time on my recipe, but just know you need it kind of golden brown because you don't want it too blonde because it won't cook anymore. And I ended up, the one with the glass, I didn't end up cooking it long enough and like the crust kept coming apart from the lemon filling, and you don't want that. Now, this doesn't seem like a lot of crust, and it isn't, but I'm one of those people that doesn't like a lot of crust, so you can easily double the crust recipe if you want a thicker crust on your lemon bars. But this also keeps the carb count pretty low. So doubling the crust would add a little bit of carbs to each lemon bar, maybe 0.5 or so. But I just do a thin layer all across the bottom of a 9x13 pan. It's almost like clay, like you can literally just like mold it wherever you want. Spread it out nice and thin. If you cut these lemon bars into 16, they're 2 carbs each. If you cut it into 12, which they're kind of big if they're 12, it is 3 net carbs. But that's how I was selling them at the bakery. When I already had my oven preheated to 350, so I didn't forget to do it before this was done. Once you got it all kind of spread out, you can see what parts are a little bit thinner. Kind of move it along to those different parts. Try to have it as even as you can. Okay, I'm gonna pop this in the oven until it's done. I'm probably putting the recipe like 12 to 16 minutes. Like I said, the glass 9x13 took even longer. I think it was 16 minutes I pulled it, but it could have went even longer than that. So just keep an eye on it and turn it after about 6 minutes so that it browns evenly. While that's cooking, we can get on to the lemon part of this recipe. And I bought these lemons. These things are enormous. Like, I've never seen lemons this friggin' big. Usually, I zest 4 lemons and juice them. And if I don't have any more lemons, I'll use a lemon juice you can buy at the store. I'm going to put up a picture of the brand that is the only brand I found that didn't have anything added to it and wasn't like a concentrate. I think it's Santa Cruz is the brand. I found it at Walmart, 2 cups for $2, which isn't that bad of a price to make up for if you only have a couple lemons on hand and you can't get a whole cup of lemon juice. But I got plenty right here. These things are enormous. I don't know how juicy they're going to be, but they are so big. It's crazy. I'm going to stick with 4. We'll see how much juice we get. And in my pot, I have 360 grams of allulose. That is equal to about 2 1/4 cups. You can go all the way up to 2 1/2 cups on the allulose. I did that with my first test. It wasn't as lemony as I wanted it. It was a little bit sweeter. So I cut back the allulose a little bit, but it does make it even softer and more like jelly-like almost of a custard consistency. But I found that 2 1/4 cups of allulose was like the right consistency for me. So I'm going to zest right into this pot. And to do it, the easiest way is to start and do 1 long stroke on your microplane. And then turn your lemon and do another stroke. And keep turning your lemon and do another stroke. These friggin' lemons are enormous though. I can barely fit it in my hand. Crazy. Now I'm getting like 1 line at a time. That's what you want. Makes it the fastest process. And then you can just like go and do some of this on the top if you want. But these lemons are huge. We're getting plenty of zest. You can also do this recipe in an 8x8 dish. You can keep the same amount of crust or you can cut it in half depending on how thick you want it. And you can cut the filling in half and do an 8x8 pan. That's what I started with my test, so I wasn't doing 9x13s and having a ton wasted if it didn't work out. So when I go, I have a juicer here. I know there's a bunch of different kinds. The one that Series Keto has is really nice. But it does make it easier when you have a lot to juice. I just cut the ends off, especially these ones because they're huge. I don't even know if this is going to fit in my juicer. I cut them in half. Might not even fit in that guy. I might have to do it by hand. Paring knife barely fits through. Okay, I did 6 minutes. I just turned it in another 6, and it seems like it might be done at 12 minutes in a metal 9x13. So a glass one just does not cook as fast. I said we need a cup of lemon juice, so yeah, this like doesn't even barely fit in here. Oh boy. If you do gotta do juice and lemons by hand, I usually do it cut side up and over my hand. But also, you can just not even care about the seeds and just get a cup of juice and then strain it when you put it into your sweetener and zest mixture. These things are enormous. There's probably still juice in there. My thing just won't even, like, get it. Got almost a cup out of those 4 lemons. We need another half a guy. It's a little bit smaller. Maybe fit in my thing better. That's like the size of a regular half a lemon. Almost at a cup. There's a cup. Might even use that whole half there. Whew, so 5 lemons. Haven't pulled this guy out in a while. We do have to heat the allulose up. This might be an unnecessary step, but I didn't want to take the chance of it being grainy. And basically we're making a custard here. So another way to make a custard is to temper your eggs with a hot liquid and then you cook it for longer to make like a custard. But we're basically just throwing it into the crust and cooking it in the oven as a custard. So it makes sense to heat it. I mean, the original recipe for a lemon bar, you just mix everything together. But because our sweeteners don't like to dissolve, you know, like regular sweeteners. The first one I tried, I did the granular monk fruit erythritol blend, and I just did it like the recipe. And it was basically like eating a bunch of sand. Like, it was just crunchy lemon sugar, basically. So, when I did my other tests, I did a powdered sugar one without heating it, like a powdered monk fruit erythritol. And that did work. So if you want to skip this step, you can do everything and just mix it all together with powdered erythritol or monk fruit erythritol blend and bake it, and it will work. But you got to do half the amount of sweetener. There, that was 12 minutes. It's nice and golden brown. That's what you want. So I did 16 in a glass pan, and it wasn't even brown. So metal cooks a lot faster. So if you do the powdered sweetener, you need half as much sweetener. So you need only a cup and a couple tablespoons of powdered sweetener. And your lemon bars end up being way shorter because you have less volume of sugar. So I like the allulose version, but if you can't do allulose, you can do a powdered sweetener of your choice, but not granular, because that was not good. So I'm just going to put this on as low as I can and just let that heat while we're getting the rest of our ingredients together. I just got a spatula to keep moving this around. You don't want to boil this or anything. You're just basically getting the sugar dissolved in there, the allulose sweetener. So I'm putting 8 eggs into a bowl. I have had these sitting out for a couple of hours just to get them a little bit acclimated to room temperature. You're going to be tempering this with hot liquid, so either way, you're going to be warming these up slowly so that they don't scramble. But we're going to be putting some ingredients in here also that are kind of going to protect the eggs. If you add like flours and stuff to your eggs, they're almost protected from hot liquid. You can use like a beater for this, but I just use brute strength. A regular lemon bar recipe has like a cup of flour in it. So I basically figured out what I had to replace to make it keto. And I did an unflavored whey protein, a tiny bit of coconut flour, and a little bit of xanthan gum. And that's it in this dry ingredient mixture. I'm going to sift it right into the eggs. I'll put all the ingredients up on the screen. It's just 2 scoops of whey protein isolate. I use Isopure. That's the one that I've never had a problem with in baking. I have had disasters with other ones. So I just try and stick with the one that I know works. I have used Perfect Keto's whey proteins, and they have worked also. But I'm not sure about the unflavored, if they have an unflavored version, but I know that their chocolate has a couple extra carbs in it. Isopure has 0 carbs, so that's why I use Isopure. Let's give this a whisk. Ugh, try not to fling it everywhere. It's gonna look like a clumpy mess no matter what, pretty much. But once you get the syrup in there, it'll be a little less chunky. Just a couple little lumps left in there. It's like all our sweetener is pretty much dissolved in there, so I'm gonna turn that off and go grab my pot holder because these handles get hot. Now slowly stream in your hot sugar liquid and whisk. As you add more, you can add a little bit more at a time. You just want to start with a splash or 2. Once your eggs get acclimated, you can add more. Nice scrape down of all the sides here. Pretty much all the lumpies are out. Give it a scrape down and one more whisk, and then into your crust and into the oven. Try to get all your lemon zest out of your whisk. You want all that in there. So your crust is cooled to the touch now. So pour it in. You scrape it all in there. All counted in the macros. And lemon juice, even though it says it's like 1 carb for, or it might even say 0 carb for a teaspoon or something on the back of the package, there are carbs in lemon juice. They just add up. Just like in heavy cream, it is about 6 carbs for a cup of heavy cream. But on the back of the package, it says 0, but those are hidden carbs. So we're gonna pop this into the oven I am going to turn it halfway through. Last time in my oven, it took 24 minutes. I've been learning a lot about ovens. Electric ovens always need a little bit longer. Convection ovens always lower the temperature by at least 25 degrees. And your cook time is going to be way quicker. So just always keep an eye on your baked goods if you have a convection oven. So I set the timer for 12 minutes. I'm going to turn it and then I'm going to check it and see if I think I need another 12. I might go a little bit less just to not overbake. If you do, it might crack a little bit on the top, but it still tastes delicious. We'll be back when those come out of the oven. Okay, as you saw there, I set it for another 12 minutes, but I stopped it at 3 because I opened it up and they were no longer jiggly in the middle. So that's when you know they're done. So I only had it 21 minutes, if I can do math correctly. But unfortunately, these have to cool completely before we slice into them. So I let them cool on the countertop until they're like okay to touch basically, and then I throw them into the refrigerator. So we'll be back in quite a while to slice these guys up. Okay, it's time to try some lemon bars. I'm pretty sure they're cooled completely. Let's hope. And of course, the first one's never gonna come out nice, but we're gonna try. Hot water. So, gotta go in half. If you're doing 16, that makes it 2 carbs each, in half. And then each one of those in half. Can. Not too bad. I did those a little bit bigger. Hot water always helps. Especially these are super sticky. So, they're super gooey and like custardy, just like a regular lemon bar. I did spray the sides of this pan, so you know, just to make this part easier. Again, corner piece never tends to come out well, no matter what. Gonna come out nicely? Wow, kinda did. Pretty nice lemon bar. It's not perfect, but came out pretty nice. Of course, I don't have a plate. Now, I will be dusting these with powdered sugar for the thumbnail, but our powdered sweetener does not stay on the lemon bars at all. It pretty much melts within 30 minutes or so. So it adds a little bit of sweetness, but it also adds that little bit of a cooling effect. So if you don't like that or if you're sensitive to it, I wouldn't dust it with powdered Swerve or Monkford erythritol. Now lemon bars I usually lift up and eat as a bar, but I'll be civil and use a fork. They're like, it's super soft and custardy like it's like a regular lemon bar. Like I couldn't believe it when I got that texture. I think it's the Allulose. It's magical. So creamy. Just melts in your mouth. The crust is a little crispy on bottom. So you got nice and crispy. Tons of lemon zest in there, which really packs a punch. Super tangy. Allulose isn't super sweet, but it looks perfect and like it tastes like a regular lemon bar. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this recipe as much as I have and all my bakery customers have. Don't forget to check out my Amazon links and the Perfect Keto link down in the description box below, along with the link to the blog post for the full recipe. Let me know what your favorite summer desserts are down in the comments, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And as always, I'll be back with many more keto dessert recipes. Bye guys!